Hello, my name is Neve Gallagher, and I am an AHRC Chase Doctoral Researcher from Goldsmiths University of London. This video presentation is about how embodiment acts as my main method of research for my practice-based PhD project Authentic Bodies, Diverse Embodiment and Disabled Identity in String Performance Practice. This practice research combines string performance, embodiment and disability studies to illuminate the knowledge-generating work of disabled musicians, their perspectives and adaptations in musical discourse. As a disabled musician, my project explores the knowledges and agencies of diverse embodiment and critiques pathologizing and therapeutic narratives which tend to dominate the discourse around music and disability. I ask how foregrounding the experience of disabled bodies may offer a framework for interrogating embodied experience in musical practice. The specific embodied and technological practices of this project will be concerned with my instrument, the viola, and my specific body. The processes explored and findings, in the end, will be applicable to practitioners both disabled and non-disabled. Why am I the right person to conduct this research? I am a disabled person, as defined in the UK Equality Act 2010, who has a lived experience of having a diverse embodiment. I am also a disabled musician who has a long-standing practice and relationship with my instrument, the viola. Through my practice, I explore embodied knowledge and identity, both as a disabled person and as a musician. In my practice, adaptation has been a crucial thread, the specifics of which my embodiment required to adapt both my bodily approach to the practice and repertoire to my body. Why is this research important? 22% of the UK's population are disabled, with only 1.8% of people working in the music industry identifying themselves as being disabled. In the current research field of music and disability, there are two types of researchers. Those who are non-disabled, who theorise the experience of disabled practitioners and musicians, or there are those who have had established musical careers, who become disabled, therefore comparing their experiences both before and after a traumatic event. Currently, there is a notable underrepresentation of practice-led research from the perspective of being a disabled musician, as well as a sizable gap in the field of disabled practitioners discussing their embodiment within their own musical practices. The research questions for my project are as follows. 1. How do embodiment and somatics discourses furnish frameworks for articulating disabled experience in string performance? 1a. What creative adaptations may facilitate a disabled musician in their practice? 2. How may foregrounding the experience of my disabled body offer a framework for interrogating embodied experience in musical practice? 2a. How can aspects of disabled musical experience offer insights for wider performance practices? For this presentation today, I will be focusing on questions 2 and 2a. As I discussed previously when introducing this research, currently in the field of music and disability there are largely two types of researchers, but thematically when looking at music and disability, these kinds of projects are usually viewed through the lens of research being about disability, with some music included, but it's never a music project with disability, which is what my project is. Moreover, there are two dominant discourses in the field: pathologizing and therapeutic narratives. Firstly, pathology can be defined as to unfairly or wrongly consider something or someone as a problem. Within the discourse of music and disability, there are many examples of this. For instance, when discussing music and disability in general, Howe et al. Comment that throughout musical history, disability has often emerged as an antithesis to some other desirable standard. Here, Howe et al. Are likely referring to the virtuosic model of attainment pertinent in many musical discourses, where disability is likely seen to be anti-virtuosic, and that this type of music is unattainable for disabled people. But this topic is much too large for this specific presentation. Additionally, within the scope of opera, Armstrong notes that disability is used as a symbol for moral deficit and evil, social transgression, divine intervention, and punishment for sin within cultural narratives. Now turning to therapeutic narratives. Therapeutic can be defined as relating to the curing of a disease, to make someone else feel more healthy. This is a large theme throughout the field of music and disability studies, the medicalization of music. For instance, in 2022, Shaw et al. Wrote a paper about ableism within music therapies, saying that ableist rhetoric is and was rife in music therapies, noting, however, that the field is trying to work to a post-ableist perspective. Furthermore, music is seen as a prominent method of rehabilitation for disabilities. It is also worth noting here that there are other narratives that are seen within these categories, such as overcoming disability, musicians being purely defined by their disability, and the model that everyone will become disabled if they live long enough. However, I would like to propose that there should be another option, an authentic, body-first approach to musical practice. My definition of an authentic body is one that is constantly in a state of flux, one that embraces flexibility, the body you have right now. Having a practice where your own authentic body is at the forefront allows for more authentic interactions with and in your practice. In this example of its application, my authentic body places disability as the stable mode of embodiment. I will also make reference to diverse embodiment, which is an extension of embodiment. I will use embodiment as a noun and as an adjective to embrace embodied practice, embodied knowledge, embodied research, and embodied technique. Diverse embodiment will refer to the background of the disabled identity, the disabled body, and the nuances that come with this. This is my methodology for my own authentic body-first practice. I typically film whole practice sessions where I play through existing solo viola repertoire, or sometimes I have an improvisation session, just seeing what my body wants to play. Straight after, I write reflective notes on my practice. This helps me digest the session and how certain aspects felt within my body. These are helpful to reflect on as themes emerge. A few days later, I re-watch these practice videos and pick out certain things that I find interesting. I then recreate them and turn them into techniques. I should stipulate these are not necessarily new techniques. They are just moments where my body signifies or occupies these interactions. Later, I write a phenomena technical piece of writing with a technical score for composers, which sets out the parameters for the technique. This turns into a bank of techniques for composers, from which we co-create new works for viola. I then practice these new works, which creates this iterative feedback loop. So, this is an example of this process in action. This is the technique I have named left side harmonics, and it came to be because I was practicing Cassandra Miller's Day Learning Slack Tide. During multiple practice sessions, I was finding it uncomfortable and painful to play these high harmonics on the C and G string, highlighted in green on the score, as I have a very inflexible left wrist. After reading my notes and watching these sessions back, I started to explore different approaches to how to play this on the viola. After some time, I found that the most authentic variation was moving my left arm out from under the viola to be more winged out and buoyant, allowing me to approach the viola from above. On the right, you can see an example of one of the phenomena techniques that I send to composers. There is a hyperlink to a video of me performing the technique, accompanied by the phenomena technical writing, as can be seen in blue, and the score for composers in green. I will show you this example with the video, so you can also read the phenomena technical writing and technical scores, as it is quite small. I have enlarged it and will play it to you now so you have a chance to see how this all fits together. How does this method relate to my research questions 2 and 2a? To refresh everyone's memories, these are the questions. 2. How may foregrounding the experience of my disabled body offer a framework for interrogating embodied experience in musical practice? 2a. How can aspects of disabled musical experience offer insights for wider performance practices? To show others how I have foregrounded my disabled body through this methodology, I have done this through filming, reflective writing, and phenomena-technical writing and scores. I did this to give a wide range of avenues for composers and other practitioners to help them understand these techniques. Then, in terms of showing how this framework can interrogate embodied experiences in musical practices, especially in string performance practices. So far in my research, I have found that string pedagogies take the unique body out of embodiment and maintains that the word technique refers to received knowledges, therefore keeping it codified. It is also an alternative body-first framework for collaboration and co-creation. Then question 2a relates to this framework of interrogation within my research and how the phenomena-technical writings and scores will help break down the codification of string performance practices and question received knowledges and the standardization of technique. This body-first research method will also be able to give practitioners insights into wider performance practices, not just in music. The outcome for these phenomena-technical documents will be to create a bank of techniques. The documents will include videos of the technique with their accompanying phenomena-technical writing and technical scores. For this project, these will be shared with composers in order to assist in the co-creations. However, later on, I would like them to be available for any practitioner to access as an example of how they can create their own bank. I also propose that this concept of the authentic body-first method can be applicable for any practitioner in any art form to embrace their authentic body and create an approach that is suited to them and their body. Here are my references, and this is my contact info for any questions or suggestions, as well as some other upcoming conferences.